Hello and welcome to Living with Favor, where we talk about faith, abundance, vitality, overflow, and relationships. We're here to inspire and encourage the entrepreneurial spirit in you. The promise of this show is to introduce you to expert guests who will help us uncover the secrets of living with favor and growing your business. I'm your host, Lisa Mosbey. Thank you so much for tuning in and letting me offer a little bit of advice every week. We're here in week 4 of our Audacious Confidence Series, where we touch on all the pillars of living with favor. And this week, I have once again my guest, Jackie Simmons. Jackie and I have been talking about this series for the last 4 weeks. The topics have included givers and takers, the power of discernment, resolving trauma, and this week we're talking about how we train our brains for positive expectancy. So my expert guest, like I said, Jackie Simmons, she's a stress management consultant, a founding mentor of Givers University. She co-founded the Teen Suicide Prevention Society, and her TED Talk has been seen around the world. Her mission is to increase the optimism, hope, and prosperity of the planet. So please welcome my special guest, my new friend, Jackie Simmons. Jackie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lisa. This is always so much fun.
Yes. Last week we were talking about, we posted it as releasing trauma, but we changed that word to resolving trauma. And I want you to give us a quick recap before we jump into the positive expectancy of the brain, training the brain for positive expectancy. But do you want to recap us a little bit on why we use the word resolve instead of release when it comes to trauma?
Well, there's a great little song called I Release and I Let Go. I let spirit run my life. The problem was I released and let go and it all came back, because there's another old song I really like. Oh, the cat came back. It wouldn't stay away. It's a children's song about how this guy was trying to get rid of a stray cat. Well, if you think of a stray cat as like negative thoughts, okay, especially if they're hooked to events from the past, so they're trauma that's been triggered, that's your stray cat. And in the song, the guy keeps, he'd take the cat 50 miles away. The cat was still on his front porch the next day. He could not get rid of the stray cat. It just kept coming back. And that's what happens with negative thoughts. You can release them all day long, just like I can release my excess weight. Guess what? That doesn't resolve the cause of me having excess weight in the first place. Releasing a negative thought does not resolve the belief system that created the negative thought, because thoughts come from our BS. They come from our belief systems. And the beliefs that are the most troublesome are the ones that are simply the decisions we made when we were really little, about who we could be in the world, about how the world works, about who we are, what we are worthy of, what we are capable of, what the accepted level of abundance is. These are all beliefs that we created, meanings we assigned when we were really little. And so that's why resolving rather than releasing, because when I can go into, without anybody ever having to tell me their story, because that's like prime directive for Jackie's business, no one gets re-traumatized on my watch. So when I can help people go in and totally resolve the event that created the meaning that's causing the dysfunction that they're currently living, then all of a sudden they're no longer living in that dysfunction. They're no longer triggerable. That's why resolution is my word, because that's permanent. That's not change. That's transformative. Yeah. And there's a difference.
Yeah. The one that I learned and that I take away and I'm going to stick with is the BS. Our belief system, we think, what do you believe? And our belief system is so important. And you always talk about it as your BS. It's that BS. It's those repetitive thoughts, those observations, those environments have caused us to think a certain way, think that things are true, but perhaps they're false. And they were just observations that we've made and thoughts that we've repeated over and over, and now we believe this to be the truth. And so I love that you call the belief system our BS. What is the BS that's getting in the way?
It is just a pattern of electricity.
It is.
That's all it is. It's a habituated pattern. They call it a neural network in the brain. That's all it is. And it can be redirected. That's what we do in the Talk That Saves Lives with the Teen Suicide Prevention Society. We just redirect that energy. And that's what we do in conscious transformation. That redirection can be really powerful because it allows your brain to work up here. And we need to start here because somewhere along the line, we got the idea that our conscious mind is in control. You want to talk about BS? Our conscious mind is an ant compared to our subconscious mind, an elephant. There's a great little book, The Elephant and the Ant, that explains that from a psychological point of view, your conscious mind, not in charge.
That just keeps us safe, keeps us alive, keeps us functioning. But yeah, it's not in
Well,
charge,
yeah,
which is a
it gives us the ability to communicate with each other. It has a useful purpose.
for sure. Yeah. And that's a perfect transition to training your brain towards positive expectancy, training your brain towards positive expectancy. Essentially we're cultivating a mindset where we expect good things to happen, or we have outcomes that are favorable. I've heard people reference, I have a black cloud over my head, or, oh, that's typical. That always happens to me. Those are actually a mindset, and we can reframe that. We can have always happen to me be positive. We can have always happen to me be negative. How do we start? Where do we begin to train our brain for that positive expectancy and adopting, an optimistic outlook, anticipating positive results? Go.
Okay, here we go. All right, great question. I love this one. Where do I begin to rewrite this story? La da da. All right, so here's the deal. I believe music is the language of memory, which is why I insert music into everything that I teach. People will hear me see all kinds of snippets of crazy songs because it talks to a different part of the brain. Where do you begin? You might want to begin right there. What song are you singing? If they were going to make up a song about your life, what would that sound like today? And just listen to the rhythm you would have today. The best place to start is with anything that gives you awareness of how you're feeling, because you have an emotional guidance system for a reason. And when you get aware, put it on a spectrum. Am I in a positive mood or a negative mood? This is the new neutral language. Do I feel good? Do I feel bad is what we used to say. But now we don't use those labels because heaven forbid we should actually make a decision about something. Let's make a decision today that you are going to become aware of how you're feeling. Here's my definition. Do I feel expanded and up, or do I feel constricted and down? And if I'm feeling constricted and down, that's my emotional guidance system letting me know that I'm thinking something that's out of alignment with positive expectancy. Period. No judgment. This is a good thing. I am now grateful for my feelings because they alert me to the fact that I'm thinking something that's out of alignment with positive expectancy. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. It's a guidance system. When you're driving down the road, I love this example. It's used a lot by Abraham Hicks recently. If you're driving down the road and you hit that rumble strip, letting you know that you're headed off the road, do you get mad at the rumble strip?
No, you course correct.
You course correct. And what if you treated your, quote, negative emotions the same way? And instead of taking yourself to shouldville, which we can so go and have that conversation, taking yourself out of your world and going, I shouldn't have done that. I'm not supposed to feel bad. I know better than this. And then we beat ourselves up for the emotional guidance system and we miss the message. That's like getting on the rumble strip and keep going off until you're down in the ditch. That's what most people do emotionally. Like you said, this always happens to me, the sad sack. The reason that Sad Sack in the Peanuts cartoon and Eeyore in the Winnie the Pooh cartoon, the reason these are such lovable characters is because we all have that tendency. I reckon that this is how it's just gonna be. And we don't have to live that way once we become aware. It is the awareness of our emotional guidance system that allows for the shift. Everything starts there. Can't change something you're not aware of.
So, what comes to mind for me when I think of training the brain for positive expectancy, I think of things like positive affirmations or visualization or meditation, ways to focus your brain in, maybe even doing a gratitude journal, because when we're looking at the things that we're grateful for, we get more of these. I know you're laughing because you're probably going to combat some of these with some different ideas, but
I'm just going to turn up the heat on them a little bit.
Yeah, when I think of the affirmations is not something, I used to do it all the time. And then it was like, all I'm doing is repeating. Creating a belief system around these affirmations.
But you're not.
But you're not.
You're trying to turn the elephant. The ant is trying to turn the elephant. So positive affirmations work slowly. Not my style. Positive affirmations are one piece of a puzzle. Remember, we talked about the electrical in the brain, the electricity. Okay, so what if, let's just take this idea of positive affirmations and make it really work. All right, here's how it works fast. We call it walking the elephant. So everybody's going to get something they didn't expect today. And I know I probably owe you a handout from last week. I'm going to owe you a handout for this week too. You could give your people will talk to my people. Here we go. Walking the elephant, emotional guidance system. You would only make a positive affirmation if you knew what? The negative that you were trying to change. So it all starts with the negative. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. We have to have contrast. If we didn't have darkness, nobody would have created a light bulb. Okay, we have to have the contrast in order to move. You have to have contrast to have emotion. So there's nothing wrong with that. Once you accept that, you're on your way. What do you want to change? So you're aware there's something that doesn't feel good. You're aware you've got a negative thought. Okay. What we used to do is try not to think about it. You ever tried not to think about an elephant? No. The power of the brain. The minute you try not to think about something that you're unhappy about, you're actually now thinking about not thinking about it. We call that doubling down on a thought. Better is to notice it. Everything starts with awareness. Acknowledge it. And here's how you acknowledge it. It's very precise words. I used to believe that bad things always happen to me. That's a great example that you brought up, that sad sack. Okay. I used to believe bad things always happen to me. You've activated that neural network. Now we're going to steal the electricity. It's called redirection. Now I've decided. 3 words, the most powerful words in the English language. Now I've decided. Good things always happen to me. Or good things happen to me. If you're not ready for the always, just good things happen to me. Now, that's the positive affirmation, right? Good things happen to me. Good things always happen to me. That's the positive affirmation. Everything is happening for me. Nothing is happening to me. Everything is, you heard that one? Everything is happening for my benefit. Okay. All of those are really good. And now we're going to take and make them stick. You ask yourself the question, where in my life is there evidence to support the decision that good things happen to me? Now you've activated the most powerful search engine in the world, your subconscious mind, and your mind is designed to answer questions. Where in my life is there evidence to support the decision that good things happen to me? And your brain goes to work. I want 4 pieces of crunchy evidence. Crunchy means specific. Okay, specific, time bound, put a number on it. I found $1 is way better for your brain than I always have enough money. Always have enough money is a concept. I found $1 on the street is concrete, universal, and picturable. It's what I call cupped. When you can take a concept and turn it into a cup, now you've got your subconscious brain enrolled. So you get 4 pieces of evidence. This is the beginnings of how to walk an elephant. You can retrain your brain by doing an exercise every morning. It has 7 magic words in it. Every morning you get up and you get out your journal. You set a gratitude journal. This is my joy journal exercise. And you write down your new decision. Good things happen to me. We'll stick with that example. Good things happen to me. Here's your 7 magic words. And I know this is true because. And you write down 4 new pieces of evidence, 4 new answers to that question. Where in my life is there evidence to support this decision? So you do that. You write down your decision. You write down 4 new pieces of evidence. This is way more than a positive affirmation because it's a decision. And that's where beliefs come from. Beliefs are decisions. So now you've decided. Now you've written down 4 new pieces of evidence. Guess what you do? This is the proactive approach to walking an elephant. You read it out loud. Why? Because your subconscious mind is listening to what comes out of your mouth. And then you take your distraction box. That's this thing. It's called a cell phone. You get your voice activated thing and you record. You read it out loud a second time and record it on your phone. And then you use your distraction box and you set an alarm 3 times a day. When the alarm goes off, what do? Listen to your recording. Nothing is more powerful for your subconscious mind than your own voice.
I love it.
And right before you go to sleep, you listen to it again. The next day you get up, do it again. Decision, 4 new pieces, 4 new answers to the question, where in my life is there evidence to support this decision? And you say it again. Good things happen to me. And I know this is true because Lisa likes to interview me. See, you would be on my list. Yeah. And make Ann laugh. She would be on, good things happen to me. So the decision is always the opposite of what felt bad to think. So the decision is good things happen to me for this example. There's a difference between retraining the brain away from resolving negative emotion, retraining it to positive emotion versus setting goals. So I want to be really, really clear. When you do the elephant walk, you up-level your ability to achieve goals because you start to believe in yourself more, that what you decide matters. So then, like the example in the chat, then if you decide you're going to law school, you can have a decision that you're walking the elephant that says, I'm going to law school. I know I can do what I want because, and so I know I can achieve my goals because where in my life is there evidence to support I can achieve my goals? And then every time you've set a goal, learning how to ride a bike is a goal. Every time you've set a goal, getting your hair done on Friday, that's a goal. Every time you set a goal that you've achieved could be on your list. And one journal for this, because we've talked about the proactive way to walk an elephant and to change your subconscious mind and your belief system. There's also a reactive way, and that's where we started. Don't feel good? Notice. Don't feel good. What am I thinking? Oh, I used to believe bad things always happen to me. Now I've decided good things happen to me. And I know this is true because. And if you're doing this in reaction to a negative emotional experience, to your emotional guidance system actually working for you, you get out your joy book and you read every single piece of evidence that you have written in there since you started this exercise of walking the elephant.
It seems like when we can control this, when we decide that we want to change it, we're controlling our thoughts. Our thoughts don't need to control us. And oftentimes what I observe in people is that our thoughts do control us. Like it gets ahead of us.
Okay.
And when
our thoughts control us. You're right. Go ahead. Finish your thought because I so want to take this.
No, do it. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to argue about this. It's not our thoughts that control us. It's our BS that controls us. It's our belief systems that create the thought. That's a beautiful example of how our culture has gotten so far into the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which, as we've discussed before, is an aftermarket part. It's not part of the original equipment that we're born with. The prefrontal cortex does not exist in baby brains. It's built out by the time we're around 12, when kids start to understand sarcasm, and it's not fully developed and functional until we're 24 or so. So what's critical to realize is that it's not our thoughts that are running wild with us, it's our BS that's controlling us, our belief systems. So walking the elephant allows for changing the belief system.
Perfect. Now, the next one is the words that we use.
Mhm.
It's important, when we say I am and use a negative word after it versus I am and use a positive word. To me, I am.
I want I ams out of the conversation, totally. Because they're labels, and labels always limit us.
Okay.
Labels always limit us. It's not I am, unless you're going to say I am human and I am alive and I am breathing. These are observable things. Those are great I ams. Better, I've decided.
I've decided. So the words matter.
Mhm.
What about choice? I choose.
I've decided. The difference between choice and decision. See, a choice, there's a lot of conversation around this. Which one of those gives action? If I choose something, is that the action? Or is it the decision that's the action? So it depends on which one of those words is going to trigger your brain as you actually took an action. Because the word decide means to cut away. It's an action word, except in our culture where people make decisions and change their minds all the time. So for whatever word is more powerful for you, I have chosen. I have decided. The only time that I am is super, super powerful in my world is when it's followed by willing or not willing. I am willing to do whatever I need to do in this moment to make this happen. I am not willing to have your drama in my life. That powerful statement, my daughter says, saved her life. My middle daughter, Stephanie, she says, the day that I told her I was not willing to have her drama in my house anymore, saved her life. But it was not the easy way to do it. I just didn't know it then.
Yeah.
So resolution is a big deal.
Yeah. Resolution. I think words matter. That's your examples are explaining and demonstrating how words matter. What words are you going to use to train your subconscious mind? Or are you going to just let it run amok and be in control of you rather than you managing your thoughts? The last area before we open it up to our audience is environment. Being aware of your environment, surrounding ourselves with positive people. Positivity plays a huge part in how we feel when we're spending time with people who have a positive mindset, share inspiring stories, offer inspiration, motivation, like all of those words. How do we assimilate that? How do we assimilate that in our environment? And how do we manage our environment? How do we create boundaries? We talked about this in one of our other episodes, creating boundaries of what we will, exactly what you said, I am willing to, and I am not willing to. How do we create those boundaries and build the environment that feeds our positive expectancy?
You decide to. You notice, how do I feel when I'm with you? Most of us are kind of chameleon-like, and we feel differently. We even act differently when we're with certain people. If you start judging not the person, but your response to the person, how do I feel when I'm with them? You write down all the people you normally hang with, and you put a column and say, how do I feel when I'm with them? And you can just put a plus sign or a negative sign. You can do this really fast. And then spend more time with the people who have plus signs. This is not exactly rocket science, guys. It's really simple in my world to change your world. Just notice, how do I feel when I'm with them? I have a mentor, and he says, some people brighten the room when they come in, and some people brighten the room when they leave. You want to spend time with people who brighten your room in your head, your body, who brighten you up when you're with them. And you don't have to diss anybody. You don't have to call them out. And please don't try to change anybody. The only person you can change is you. Yeah. You heard the serenity prayer?
Mm-hmm.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, here's Jackie's version. God grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the people I can, and the wisdom to know that that's only me.
I was wondering where you're going. It's like, you can change people? You caught me there for a minute. But yeah, that only person is
If it's
me.
outside of my skin, it's outside of my control.
Yeah.
I have a really simple definition for this.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I don't try to change my man, Mark. I mean, come on, this is human nature. It would be really, I love you, you're perfect, now change. They made a great little show about that. We do this because we believe that if they change, we'll feel better. The truth is, when we feel better, they'll change.
Which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
It is always an inside job. When we have emotional guidance, when we choose positive expectancy, the difference between the way I live my inspired life and the way I used to live my life. Worry is certainty of a bad outcome. Positive expectancy is certainty of a good outcome. Choose. It's a choice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Jackie, we're running out of time here on our first 30 minutes, but I want to wrap this up for our viewing audience, and then we're going to open up the questions and answers. We have a big room today. Lots of people wanted to hear you speak, and I'm sure that they have tons of questions on this subject. So thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you for kind of wrapping up this series. We've tied all these 4 weeks together, but we're going to do it one more week. Next week, we're going to take all 4 of our topics for our Audacious Confidence Series. We're going to tie them all together next week. I hope you can join us. If you're watching the recording, check out the recording, because we're going to do it one more time. There'll be five sessions with Jackie. She's so graciously donated her time. So I want to thank you for doing that. And then to our audience, I want you to experience joy and personal fulfillment in the work that you're doing. My team and I are here to support business owners with simple solutions. If you could use a bit of advice to start, grow, or expand your business, if you're ready to implement an affordable powerhouse digital marketing plan or need lead generation, let's discuss your business today. Just go to my website, lisamosbey.com. And that's lisamosbey.com. Click on book time, and we can chat about what your next steps are for your business. Jackie, where do people find you?
Oh, I'm easy to find. Best right now, please go get the talk that saves lives. That's Teen Suicide Prevention Society.com or teaspoons.org. TEA spoons, teaspoons.org. And get the talk that saves lives and connect with us there. Otherwise, Jackie at JackieSimmons.com. Send me a note, ask me a question. And if you don't get a response, don't worry. I will read your email eventually. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much again for today. Stick around. We're going to do some questions. Come on back next Tuesday. We'd love to see you. Thanks for joining us, everybody.